Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of My Unfair Advantage. In this episode, we're going to talk about branding power. This is very misunderstood, and branding is really something that you need to understand if you're going to grow your business to, the point where it's sellable in the future. If you're going to grow your business to the point where you're basically a household name, for the lack of a better expression. Branding power for your products and your business. This is what we're going to talk about. So, why is it important? Why is it important to brand properly? Well, did you know that Fortune 500 companies invest millions and millions of dollars into the branding of their products? This is a fact. There are companies out there that are branding companies, and they consist of huge focus groups of people and the ability to create surveys and focus groups, test markets, just to find out the appeal of certain names and certain colors and how people will respond to specific branding. And these companies make a lot of money by creating brands for other companies that want to release products into a marketplace. Proper branding creates an anchor in the customer's mind, which can be triggered by recurring events. When you really build a brand, every time that somebody has that recurring need in their life, your product is what's going to pop into their mind. And that is what branding is. Branding is that when you're driving down a road and you just see the golden arches, you know what's there. Sometimes just seeing the golden arches might make you hungry. It might actually remind you of the taste of the chicken McNuggets that you can get at McDonald's. And this is called powerful, proper branding. It literally creates an anchor in your mind. Sometimes it can even trigger smells. Sometimes it can trigger sounds. It literally can cause you to have a certain feeling and to cause you to take action on that feeling if the branding has been done properly. Proper branding also increases the perceived value of your product and your company. It makes you more sellable. So here's what I mean by that. A lot of people make the mistake of not looking at branding as something that they're going to need in the future for the purpose of selling their company at large or their brand at large. Sometimes we're, as internet marketers, we create little digital information products like ebooks and things like that. And we put our own name to them, right? So I made this mistake in the beginning. I said like Omar Martin's Secrets to Success.com or whatever. That's just an example, right? But how sellable is that later? If I sell that to someone, I literally have to sell my name to them. And when I mean by sell it, I mean license it. I mean, imagine if my company name is Omar Martin Inc. When I sell that, I literally have to sell me. That company becomes of little value without me because I literally am the brand. My face, my image, my name is the brand. So it becomes tough to sell that later. And if you spent years creating products, launching products, and creating a brand for yourself, something that's known and recognized in a particular marketplace, then when it comes time to sell it, maybe for a couple $1 million or what have you, after all of the work that you've done branding yourself, somebody like myself who could be a potential buyer of your company says, well, hold on a second, why would I buy this? Without you, this brand is no good because it's yourname.com or it's your name is on every single product. Your face is on every single product cover. That doesn't mean that you can't be on the inside of the product, teaching, training, and so on. I'm saying on the front cover, on the name, on the logo, that kind of thing. When you proper brand something, it's going to increase the value of your product and your company, and it's going to make the entire thing more sellable later on. It's also going to rejuvenate some products. Let me tell you a little story about a company that you might know called Procter Gamble. Procter Gamble paid over $1 million to another company called Lexicon Branding. Lexicon Branding is a branding company. And like I said earlier, there are companies like this out there that they just have branding and they just have scientific studies and they do all kinds of things to figure out what name, what marketing angle, what logo, what concept, what story, what brand is going to make more money for a product and a company. That is what Procter and Gamble went to Lexicon Branding for. That's the service that they hired them for. See, Procter and Gamble had this product on the shelves for years, and they weren't selling it. It just wasn't making them any money. And in 1998, they decided, well, after 20 years of having this product on the shelves, I think that the bean counters over at Procter and Gamble said, well, I think it's time to do something with this. We there's probably a market for this, and they decided that we're going to hire Lexicon Branding to repackage this, to give it a name, to give it a brand. And they did. And that product that had existed in Procter & Gamble's portfolio, in Procter & Gamble's product catalog for years, almost 20 years, in 1998, all of a sudden, after having hired Lexicon, became their #1 selling product called Febreze. So this was an air freshener type of product that it existed for years, but then they couldn't sell it. It was one of their signature products. They couldn't sell it. Then they hired this company to name it Febreze and to give it this logo, this color scheme, right? The window, the gust of wind coming through, to brand it as a particular thing. I actually read this on a website. I'm actually going to quote a website. One of the biggest problems that Procter & Gamble's research has discovered was that bad smells simply didn't happen often enough in a consumer's life. Interviews showed that consumers liked Febreze when they used it, but that many customers simply forgot that it was in the house. The researchers at Procter & Gamble and Lexicon Branding realized academic findings on habit formation, by the way, that they had enormous implications for selling Febreze. Because bad smells occurred too infrequently for Febreze habit to form. So they were trying to sell their air freshener based on, hey, when you have a bad smell in the house,